Good afternoon. I'm Dennis Galucki. Welcome to the 553rd Imagine Buffalo program and our 175th YouTube Imagine Buffalo program, hosted by our wonderful Buffalo and Erie County Public Library. Thanks for joining us today. This program is created by the Center for the Study of Art, Architecture, History, and Nature, or C-SAAHN, as I pronounce the acronym, and ImagineLifelongLearning.com. Now, before we get started, just a little housekeeping. Everyone watching will be muted and your video turned off. If you have a question or comment, please type it into the chat box and we'll go through them at the end of the presentation as time allows. We are recording this program so you can watch it again later on the Downtown Central Library's Facebook page and YouTube channels, and certainly we hope you share the link with others. Now, let me give some context for our featured speaker. One of the two themes that we have for this program for the last 15 years has been to imagine a healthy, wealthy, and sustainable community. And that holds the idea of the Art of Investing program we do every fifth Tuesday. October has 5 Tuesdays, and a 9-week program that I present at Chautauqua Institution at the Smith Memorial Library every Monday, and have done so for the last 15 years. Now, with that, our speaker today is J.D. Hartman, and J.D. his topic is the art of investing in your values. J.D. Hartman of Equitable Advisors, Signity Financial, focuses on sustainable, responsible investing and provides forward-thinking financial strategies in line with client values. He has worked in the financial industry for nearly 40 years, including as Senior Managing Director of the Wall Street investment bank, Leventhal and Company. In addition to his business responsibilities, J.D. is a community leader with subject matter expertise in cooperatively owned businesses, as well as being the past chair of the Lexington Food Co-op and current board chair of Urban Roots Cooperative Garden Center in the Five Points neighborhood of Buffalo. JD is an active member of the Western New York Sustainable Business Roundtable and goes back to its founding here in Western New York. All right, given all that, let's welcome J.D. Hartman. J.D., take it away.
Thank you, Dennis. Yeah, really, I'm honored to be here. I'm in the library. I was talking before we got on live today how important the library is for me. I live in the Elmwood Village. I'm at Crane Library pretty routinely, taking out books. Actually, the organization that I'm currently president of, Urban Roots, holds our board meetings there once a month. So when I say I'm indebted or grateful to the library, it's true. And and also to Dennis's work. I was down in Chautauqua on a Monday this past summer talking about this exact topic, under the mantle of the art of investing. And my one area of expertise is in socially responsible investing, or ESG, environmental, social, and governance criteria involved in selecting investments. So, to be here today with the library, with all of you, talking about what I'm, to one of my passions is a lot of fun. So, yeah, I just to let you know, I'm an old Wall Street guy. I started in the business in '81. Literally, my first address was 40 Wall Street. I've been at it I got to update my bio. I've been at it for 43 years now, not nearly 40. So about the turn of, back about 20 years ago, I moved from New York back to my hometown here in Buffalo. And I don't know this. I've always listened to people who say, "Hey, if you're interested and excited or passionate about something, you're probably going to do it better than if it's Yeah, it's a job. So anyways, at one point I did merge my passion for the environment, social justice, and fair and open governance with my business of being an investment advisor. When I say an investment advisor, remember I spent almost 2 decades toiling in the bowels of capitalism down in New York City, you know. So I am a tree hugger, but I'm a guy who can do deep, effective financial analysis. And now what I do is I've added 3 layers to the analysis of which companies, funds, or ETFs, how to invest money. And they are around environmental stewardship, social justice in the workplace, and fair and open governance of the entity, which is a publicly owned company. Just a reminder that I go off. Publicly owned companies, those that are listed, that we all probably own some of, are not the piggy banks for the executives. They're publicly owned. I own it. You own it. We own it. So anyway, that's just so you can see where this merging of my passion and my business back 20 years ago has taken me to now being able to offer information today. And remember, today is information. Do not act on anything I say, other than to pick up the phone and find someone who has subject matter expertise in this, like myself or someone else. I'm not the only person. Hey, I have a business partner, Mateo Escobar. And Mateo is a bright, well-educated, ambitious young man who is passionate about ESG investing. Matter of fact, he is the only one at Equitable. There are approximately 10,000 employees of Equitable that has the Wharton School of Business certification in ESG investing. All right, he is the only one in Western New York. So what I'm going to talk about, I'm very serious about, I'm passionate about, and we are really students of the game. So if you ever want to talk one-on-one, you let me know. I'm going to use some slides to maybe introduce it. Then we'll go back to maybe a little conversation with Dennis and questions from you all, I hope. So if you don't mind, I'm going to share my screen. This is kind of high level stuff, so it won't take long. Okay. I'm assuming everyone can see that. Simply investing in values. And what values? It's the investor's values. I don't force my values on anyone. It doesn't matter if it's, neighbors, friends, family. Some people want to align their investments with their personal values around fairness, equity, diversion, inclusion, environmental stewardship, and so on and so forth. And that can be done. and when I talk about investing in values, like who's doing this? Huh. How come that's not moving forward? Okay. Young people are doing this. You can see from moving left to right, the younger you are, the more interested and the more conviction you have toward socially responsible investing or aligning your investments with your values. In addition to younger people that are interested, women are interested. A recent survey found that females are almost twice as likely as their male counterparts to say it's important that companies they invest in are integrating ESG factors into their policies and decisions. And I'll tell you why that's important. Nearly half of American women are the primary breadwinners in their household. The number of high net worth women is growing twice as fast as the number of affluent men. In fact, it's estimated by 2030, women will have control of 2/3 of all the wealth in the United States. So young people and women, older women who are outliving their male counterparts are investing using, in alignment with their values. You can see it's a growing field. This is not just a fad, a passing fad. All right. So now I'm going to say, okay, so we got a little profile who's doing this and why are they doing it? 3 primary reasons. Look, they just want to align their investments with their personal values. Look, I don't want to be investing. I don't want dividends from a company that is involved in the manufacturing of weapons of mass destruction. I'm making one up. That's one reason they do it. I don't want to invest in that. Okay. Another reason, it's just a good way to manage risk. I'm going to give you an example. Pacific Gas and Electric was the largest electric utility company in the United States, mostly state of California. Well, one of their transmission statements through a spark started the largest wildfire ever in America's history, and they were found liable for it, and they had to declare bankruptcy. Okay. Ooh. So I hope none of you had PG&E in your portfolios, whether it's outright ownership, mutual fund, or ETF. Okay. So 3.7% of ESG funds owned it, whereas over 50% of private equity funds and regular mutual funds own PG&E. So you can see it's just a way to manage risk. No hocus pocus, no hugging trees, no save the planet. Just, dude, I want to manage the risk in my portfolio, period. Just like cash flow and profits and so on and so forth. The third reason, to make a positive impact. I want to invest in alternative fuel sources, wind, solar, geothermal, and whatnot. That's an example of one reason I might follow ESG investing principles, because I want to, some of my values is innovation around fuels. Okay. So I'm going to move on and say so how do you do this? Real simple. You divest. I gave an example. Yep. No fossil fuels. End of story. Okay. Divestment's been around for a long time. It started with religious communities. And they got to spread through divesting in South Africa. Take shape through, hey, I don't want no alcohol and tobacco. Weapons of mass or controversial weapons systems and whatnot. You just foot out divesting. And then there's a way to engage, and then there's innovation, okay? And I'll get to some more examples. I went through the divesting, okay? It's pretty simple. Just an NO. Engagement's a little different. We positively screen versus negative screen for companies that actually, in running their day-to-day business, much like the Cooperative Garden Center over here at 5 Points, Urban Roots, we consider environmental, social, and corporate governance risk factors in managing our business. And so do lots and lots. Equitable, which is a publicly traded company that I'm in affiliation with, has a very strong ESG in running their business, not in the investment side and how they run their business. So do many companies here in Buffalo, thus the Sustainable Business Roundtable, Rich Products, M&T, My Business, UB, Erie County. Anyway, the other part of engaging is shareholder activism. We vote our shares. I own the company. I have a right, if I have an interest, to vote. One way to vote is, hey, big raises to the executive suite. Well, how's the rank and file being paid? Is there a delta there that's growing? So anyway, shareholder activism. Okay, the other way is the innovative. I've already mentioned clean energy. There's urban sustainability, biodiverse food production and whatnot. This is how you do it. Remember, all the same, very strict adherence to financial analysis in addition to analysis around ESG. Okay, I'm going to move on to results, because results matter in my business. No one hires me to lose them money. Okay, I'm not going to get into this because so much more plays into how people invest and what they need or want or expect out of their investments. But you can see this is stocks back since the 1990s. And in fact, this is showing that using ESG analysis helps you outperform. Do not make any decisions based on this. Talk to me beforehand. Here's bonds. Once again, same thing. Here's international stocks. Once again, same thing. So I guess probably the best thing to say is just like, you don't lose performance. What you do at times, over time, it all washes out. But look, when gasoline spikes up from $50 to $60 a barrel to $100 a barrel, and Exxon's and other petrochemical companies double in value, you're going to underperform if you've divested from them, period, end of story. All right. But then over time, it all comes out in the wash. And basically, history has indicated that you don't lose performance over time. Who knows what the future brings? So that's enough on results. Okay. I'm going to go to probably, I think this is really important. This is what it means to me personally. All right. This is a comparison. If I throw $1 million, you can put 100,000, 10,000, $1,000 in the S&P 500, an index. You go to Vanguard, Schwab, they all got them. Everyone's got them. I use them. All right. If you tilt that portfolio, toward climate leaders and divest from just the worst fossil fuel companies, here's what it means to me or you or whoever does it. Look at that. I own a third less emissions. Okay, I'm contributing far less, almost over a third less to the warming of the Earth's surface temperature. And I'm just throwing out less stuff. Hopefully a lot less plastic. Okay, this is what it means to me. This is my decision. I don't have to believe it. Is that which side is me? That's it. So that's the end of my spiel. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and come back to you all. Wonderful to see you again. That's really all I have. So remember, do I feel passionate about it? Do I want to do a better job managing risk? Okay. And is there anything in me that desires to make an impact and help the world innovate toward better solutions?
Good. JD, thank you. Good summary of what you spent close to an hour in Chautauqua covering. So you gave us the highlight points, and I appreciate that. What I found last summer, our theme was around equity, diversity. We had the heads people doing this at Highmark, at an insurance company, the health insurance company, the stadium named after it, and sponsored. M&T Bank was there speaking. And despite the fact that governance issues suddenly wove their way from arcane talk in the stock market to the political arena, where there's suddenly it became charged. these companies spoke with conviction about why it just makes sense from a corporate standpoint to have diversity on a board, for instance, to get different points of view. And I was really taken with that, yeah, get past the politics of what seems to be going on and get to the reality of what companies are actually doing. I think you'll find quite a few trying to make their organizations more sustainable, just doing it in many different ways. Has that been your experience, JD, that this awareness factor is growing and just makes sense for companies? And then people are left to find, well, which companies are doing a better job of doing that? Which ones are really doing it, not just what's called greenwashing, not just saying they're doing it in the publicity, but aren't. What's your thoughts about the reality of the progress of this whole movement of awareness, I call it, if anything else?
Yeah, what I can say confidently, born of a lot of just experience. I gather information. I'm an information nut. Is the train's left the station on this? There's no sending it back. It just is. Now, there has been some political / social pushback, and as there is on most innovation. Like, really, I don't know. I like to have a horse out in front with a whip. That's how I get from A to B. Okay, that was a good way to do it for a while. Matter of fact, it was the best way to do it for a while, but. Companies like Equitable, M&T, Rich Products, they may not be tooting their horn as much about it because there has been some backlash. But they see the value, because remember, especially the public, M&T is a publicly traded company. They need to deliver me shareholder value. And they know there's no value just in diversity in itself, like, la, 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 we're diverse. No. Like, if diversity is good, biodiversity is good, only humans would think it's not good for us. Good for everything else. Sun, the moon, the stars, the plants, the insects, everything. Us, no. No problem. All white males can do it. What? You're not losing anything through having, groupthink. So anyway, so it's like me 20 years ago, this merger of my personal values and interests and the monetization of them through business it's amazing. It's happened in our lifetime. No one thought of this 50 years ago. I'll tell you, no one thought of it in 1981 when I started work at 40 Wall Street. If you brought this up, I would have been fired.
Well, going back, some started to integrate the idea, even in Chautauqua. Alcohol would not be seen as something to be helpful to the human spirit, at least publicly. So what do? You start to say, hey, I don't want to invest in that group. IBM got tagged with apartheid in South Africa, and suddenly there was movement because people had focus on one thing. Now it's gotten more layered, nuanced, and the word sustainability seems to be the overriding it. So just for a moment or two, mention how you see corporations as members of the Western New York Sustainable movement here that's fairly unique to our region, that this group got created. Give us just a few moments on that, if you could, JD.
Yeah, it's UB through I'll mention his name, Brian McPherson and others, and Erie County through Bonnie Lawrence and others. Really, and then probably 8 to 10 people form the Sustainable Business Roundtable. Business, for-profit entities, and other large economic organizations. UB may not be a for-profit, but there's a lot of money that flows through there. And your department, anyway, your school better not. Anyway, so they started an organization really it started with idea sharing. So what are you doing to, over at, if you have bricks and mortar, what are you doing to lower your carbon footprint? It's just good business. It's cheaper through whatever, through conservation, that type of thing. And then it moves into that more social category, the social aspect. Look, a company that treats its employees well operates better. I don't even need to go to Wharton to get that. Right? So companies in Buffalo on the Sustainable Business Roundtable, you can go, I think it's sbr.org, and you can see the companies, and it's a long list. Companies we engage with, I'm just using a couple big names. And, they are, they're good people, so they have this same reason you might invest. I have this personal, I want to run my business like I run my home, but I also want to add shareholder value, because even if you're a privately held company, family business, you got some owners, it might be 3-4 generations of them. So they see it as this merger. Many businesses bubble. Go look, there's dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of them. See the merger of universally admired values and business principles as a profitable relationship.
Yeah.
Period.
It's
nothing to do with politics.
And it's all sustainability is local. How about if we coin that phrase? In many ways, it starts in your own backyard, and that list is impressive. And I invite people go online and just Western New York Sustainable Business Roundtable, SBR, and you'll see just about every. You'll be hard pressed to find companies in Western New York that aren't members, rather than that are. So that's the reality of it. Now that's sort of under the surface. It seems it's not out there. You do your best to promote annual meetings and awards and promote things, but I think most of us, it's just not. We're just not aware this goes on. Frankly, that's why I wanted to have you on today to help use this little half-hour slot as a promotion vehicle. It is archived at the library, and it should be. It's part of our times, but it just seems like it's under the radar for many people. Get Real too mentioned some of the groups that you do, that 5-point project. You're on the board. What's that like? And then we'll finish up with that.
Yeah. Well, look, I'm a cooperatively owned business expert. Really, I have both kind of academically, but all through experience. I chaired the board of the food co-op when we grew from a little corner store over in Ashland and Lexington up down to Elmwood, and now 2 stores. And anyway, and now I'm the board chair over at Urban Roots. And people think they're nonprofit organizations, and for profit. It's just it's a bit different business ownership model. There's publicly traded M&T, there's privately held Rich Products, and then there's cooperatively held the food co-op or Urban Roots. And so I'm a business guy. Look at me. I got get the suit and the white shirt on. I'm a business guy. And it does business there. I don't know where we got the whatever that, got to be a miserable, greedy SOB to be good at business. It's not true. I showed some data on performance. The opposite is true. I can adhere, not perfect. No one's perfect. I drive a Prius Prime. I can plug the thing in, and when that charge goes out, you know what kicks in? Fossil fuel engine. That's about as perfect as I'm getting right now. That's it. That's a conscious decision. So there's no perfect in ESG, nor the co-ops. But we can do better, not just better, like make me feel good type of better, that too. But I can also be more profitable. I can employ more people. I can be innovative and part of societal level solutions. Anyway, that's happening right here in Buffalo, whether you're a company is, because I'll tell you, the food co-op's a big member of the SBR. Why? Because they want to get better. Why? Because they got to make money. because they have salaries to pay. They have equipment to buy. Anyway.
JD, good. Melissa, how are we doing for questions to wrap this up?
We do not have any questions in the chat right now.
I thought maybe something might have come in that last little moment or two.
Hi, we have a question here from our guest today, Bob. Bob writes, could you speak on the current global initiative in standardizing ESG equity classifications?
Yeah, I thanks, Bob. Appreciate that question. Timely, good question, you know, not, but you know, to patronize, good question, timely question. Yeah, it's big business ESG right now, billions and billions of dollars, big businesses in data mining like you wouldn't believe, and so on and so forth. So, you know, and you know, the public kind of wants to know, hey, it is company A doing, you know, how do they stack up or rank to companies B through Z and that type of thing. So there's a lot of standardization going on in the kind of the rating. First of all, the data mining, where it's coming from and so on and so forth, how it's scrubbed, and then how it's presented to the public. Bob, I wish my business partner, Mateo Escobar, was here. He's the guy who graduated from the Wharton School of Business's ESG program. He would go off on this. It is not, that's about all I know. But I do know, for example, there's an organization, it's the Sustainable Accounting Business Standards, SASB. I mean, they're actually talking about having an accounting process, much like generally accepting accounting principles, GAAP, for basically mining and analyzing and presenting data as it relates to ESG analysis. So I don't know if that answered your question, but it's a good one that passed my pay grade.
There you go. But Mateo is apparently an expert within the equitable system, is at a conference asked to speak in Syracuse, I think you were mentioning before we started. So, you know, we're scratching the surface of, that's why I use the word awareness. I don't know a better word, because this has been a long process. When I was in the business, I worked with many religious communities, especially, and I found your data interesting at the beginning, women's religious organizations could try to integrate this into their mission, their value system, and trying to have their investments reflect that as best as you could. So it's been a long journey, and it's closer to the beginning than the end, I suspect, in terms of that journey.
Yeah.
And you, to some degree, myself, have been part of that, and it's worth the reflection of seeing how we do. Our investments are not just about, am I getting 4% or 5% or 10% or 2%? That's part of it, but there's much more potentially to be thought about. I use the tagline, know what you own and why you own it. And that at least invites a reflection, introspection on what we're doing with investments, not just looking at a number.
Hey, Dennis, I think this aligns with the mission of Imagine and C-SAAHN and all. I get around. I speak at events in Denver. I've been at the Bloomberg Sustainable Finance Symposium and spoke. And I'm telling you, Buffalo is at the leading edge of this. Do I take credit for that? No, God, no. You know, I already gave credit to Ryan and Bonnie, but we're a part of it. So Buffalo's really out in front of this. It's starting to get a little bit of national recognition. And I'll just tie it to something. You know, people sometimes say, hey, Buffalo's be a climate refuge if we do something about it. Look, young people that are in like the tech, you know, the service information center, they want to move to kind of a cool place. This is cool. Like if we have a reputation for being forward thinking and innovative around what makes businesses tick, how they arrive at decisions, we'll just, anyway, that's a stretch, you know, but
It's,
Buffalo is doing really well in this field. I'm proud.
it's not a bad vision for a community to strive for.
Right.
And again, the banner I use is to imagine a healthy, wealthy, and sustainable community. I'm tired of hearing us being one of the poorest cities in the country when we have assets, cultural assets, and others that we don't measure, don't know how to measure in terms of the standard measurements that are out there. But boy, there's a lot going forward. That's why our other theme is to imagine Greater Buffalo as a premier cultural and nature center. I think we put those two together, and at least it gives us a way to imagine.
Yeah.
And I hope this program's been helpful for the last 15 years in doing just that. And you certainly have, JD, today. Thank you for being with us today and moving the ball forward. That's what we do in life, I guess. And folks, thank you for joining us today. We hope you'll join us next week. Election Day, Tuesday, November 5th. Well, we're going to wrap up our 3-part civic education series with our speaker being Ashley Reed from the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. I'm Dennis Galucki. Be well and good day.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, JD.